Hello, all of YouTube and the surrounding world and beyond. It's 10 to 12 p.m. and yeah, we've really not shared any exciting or anything fun with you all, and I do honestly feel I lost a bit of my YouTubing mojo, if you want to call it that. Never had it. I mean, it was just purely a way for me to keep my friends, my family that are abroad, family that even live, 4 or 5 hours away. That life's busy. People can't keep in touch, and I'm terrible at keeping in touch, even with my brothers. And yeah, there's a lot been going on. So I'm hopeless. So I had lost my way with YouTube. I'd sort of given up on it, but everyone keeps asking, when are you doing the next one? What's happening with the car? How's the car coming? And I'm like, well, actually, I thought it was just me just waffling a load of shit. Car-wise, right, so I cut the car to bits. It was absolutely decimated. Didn't really give a shit what I did with it. It cost me a few bob, but nothing crazy. We had loads of trouble, like gearbox, shiny, lovely. Ollie Precision Engineering took over, and he has done an outstanding job. And I'll move on to showing you what he's done and where we were at with the car. You might catch a glimpse of some new metalwork and there. So yeah, we'll move on and talk about it. Right. So the best thing really to start with and say is that it's got 4 functioning, working, rolling wheels. It's under its own weight, and I'm made up by it. It's like, yes, that is just an achievement that I am absolutely, I can't tell you how proud I am of it. And yeah, I cut it to absolute smithereens. Not gonna hide that. And really, it's not really the thing I should have done. I had a car that sort of worked, wasn't right, could have made right, but here we are. So, let's go for a little wander. Yeah, I mentioned my absolute genius welding guru. Pretty much my go-to man for everything now. He's a really good friend. He looked after me when I was unwell. But yeah, here we are. I'll touch on that later. I really do appreciate his help, and they're not married, but I think they should get married. I'll call her his wife, Josie, for letting him come and really do my shit, because without him, I don't think I'd manage, to be totally truthfully honest. So yeah, we have wishbones actually on the car. Things work. Like, wow. Steering rack. We've just had a delivery of bits, so we can actually get the steering rack bolted in with actual steering arms and knuckles and everything to make it work. So, winner. Yeah, I struggled a little bit. I'm going off the beaten track now. So yeah, wait, hang on. We have a wheel that's connected to the car properly. It's tacked in at the moment because we need to make a small adjustment. Wheelbase has been a bit of a struggle, just because we're going to use these arms, which are slightly shorter and give a shorter wheelbase. But I don't remember why. I forget now. We'd faffed around, looked at it. Anyway, we're now on an XC Works setup all round, which I'm happy, I'm chuffed about. Some cool little features that I wanted to do on cars before and never really done. So if you look through here, our bearing carriers are adjustable. Means we're on it's a 79.5-inch wheelbase on the shortest. But it is what it is, unfortunately. I'd love to be a bit shorter and have provision to use the wheelbase adjustment, i.e. moving the centre line of the wheel forward and back to achieve a better wheelbase. But as I say, it is what it is. Really came to the conclusion that the priority would be to get the car out and just get some miles on it and learn, because I think it's going to be a big learning curve. You can see there, gearbox and shiny. So as far as chassis goes, I really can't take much credit. I can think the idea up. I can say I want it there, but I struggle a little with, not too bad with the notching and stuff like that, but I do struggle a little with putting it into practice. I mean, I've cut some tubes there, and I've got a tube hanging ready to measure. So yeah, I can do the bulk of it. So here we are, ready to start the rear cradle. But let's move on. You've all seen the gearbox, and you've all seen the starter headache, which opposed the problem. Now, let's just take a moment to appreciate that bit of aluminium billet engineering. I mean, it's expensive, but I'm so absolutely made up with it. Just have a look at this. It's wow. So obviously the gearbox is a GBZ, GB Engineering 2-speed, so 2 forward gears, 1 start gear, 1 race gear. Did want to have a 3 or a 4-speed so I could have 2 different ratios, but I'm told that the gear sets in these are very quick to change, so time will tell. And when I spoke to Jeff was very helpful, and he said that there is options. I believe you can get a spacer plate to space here, and then a different shaft set up, and obviously selectors and God knows what else to go 3-speed in this casing. So it's not wasted in that sense, but feast your eyes on that for an adapter plate. Project did come to a bit of a, what can I say? I lost my mojo. But this man, excuse the dirt, this man deserves a lot of credit. He has helped me financially. He's honoured his word. We did have a mishap with the first adapter plate, purely just an accident. You know, one of nobody's fault. It was just one of those things that eventually, by the time it was noticed, it was too late, and the big lump of billet aluminium was scrap, unfortunately. So he did not charge me a penny more. He honoured his word to a price, and I have got massive respect for Owen. So OWE Precision Engineering. But yeah, he has made this work, and without that, it was game over. I honestly thought it came to that, and he always reassured me through the process that we'll make it work. It can't be impossible. So very clever man, massive respect, and without his input we were going nowhere. So yeah, wow. I'll just come down here and show you. So starter motor, new end on the starter motor, so he machined that, cut out in the adapter plate. Just phenomenal, you know, just thought it through, made it work, no fuss, no drama, and here we are. Just wow. Autograss Class 7 Super Saloon. No maximum CC, rear engined, fully space framed, with a skin of a body shell bolted onto that space frame. The class in general works well in the modern way. The class in general works the cars, should I say, work on a rear weight percentage. There are lots of opinions on the rear weight percentage that should be specified. There are lots of what I deem as too much, and there are some that are not enough but work in other aspects. So to run you past what I believe, my belief, and it's not anything that I have ever questioned, it's not ever anything that I have ever contested. It is just that I kind of tested it. The old car run a really low rear weight percentage in the grand scheme of things. It was a 64% rear weight, so that's a split from front to rear. And in the scheme of it, that is very, very low in the sport of autograss. It might seem high to any other form of motorsport, but rear engined, it was 64% rear weight with me in the car is the fundamental. It was higher without me. And I, rightly or wrongly, illegally, bolted ballast to the rear of the car to increase the rear weight. We had to bolt a lot of ballast, and I didn't like it. Ultimately, yeah, okay, it came out the gate quicker, but it didn't give me the corner speed that I wanted. So I wanted the best of both worlds. I wanted to get to the corner first, and I want to have corner speed. Now, how do you do that? Well, I'm not a fan of bolting ballast into a car at all. I think it's absolutely ludicrous when we go and, we're having billet stuff made, and we're having billet wheels and things that are getting lighter and lighter, and you're spending money on probably bolts we're not allowed to run, and titanium this and that. And if we can run it, we'll run it, and titanium drive flanges, all expensive things that really we don't need. But it's like jewellery to me. I don't wear jewellery. I wear a wedding ring, and I can barely scrape money together to have a haircut half the time, because it's all spent on ridiculous, stupid things like this and that and that and that, and yeah, you know what I mean? So how do you go about doing that? Well, excuse my terrible bit of agriculturally fandangoed. My idea, which now I can confirm has not been allowed, and I think it's absolutely ludicrous. There we are. That's just the sport of autograss for you. So my idea, what I wanted to do was essentially have, if I move around here, the engine mounted in its own subframe. So picked up from mounting points. The rotary is particularly hard to mount, believe it or not. So the rotary in a standard car would only have mounting point here, one off there, and the same on the other side. And then it's the gearbox is what you'd call, or what I'm going to call, a stressed member. So you got the gearbox coming off here with a mounting on the gearbox, and then that's it. There is no mounting on the front of the engine for engine mounting, anything like that. We are going to somehow, probably with more billet, because, well, I can't afford it, but this is a very good mounting place, so that would be where your power steering would normally go. And we need to make a bearing carrier to hold that bearing so the CV can run. We're going to probably make a billet plate for the carrier that's adjustable, because the gearbox is adjustable in clocking, and make an engine mount from there, which will be absolutely wonderful. And that. So the idea was to mount the engine in its own little cradle, which was then going to be mounted on a linear actuator. So it was a 12-volt linear actuator, and the idea was that the engine would move. I can't do it now because I'm one-handed. So yeah, you would launch with a high rear weight percentage, and then when you were to select second gear, the ECU would say, we've selected second gear, move forward. which I can't do. So I'm going to have to push with two hands. Move forward, which then would move the driveline and the weight in front, or not in front, but forward. So if we focus on that drive shaft over there, angle is now forward where it was back. I haven't calculated what difference that would have made, but I was planning on having the engine able to move 4 to 6 inches. So here you go, here's your drive shaft now back. That was my idea. And so you'd be able to move the engine in a multiple position actively in an active state. However, the powers that be for Autograss said, no, mister. No. And I went, why? Genius. People go and put 15 kilos of ballast in the front of a car. We're spending thousands on lightweight stuff. And then they go and bolt like 4 quid of steel in the front. That's 15 kilos. When you've spent thousands on saving 15 kilos. Ludicrous. Anyway, that's my opinion. If it works, it works. You know, if you put in 15 kilos in the front of a car, crack on. But I wanted to stay away from that because we're trying to save weight of the car. And I thought, that's just a simple, very simple idea, very cost effective, wasn't going to be expensive to make. Just a nice, neat idea. It makes the car easier to drive. Winner, you know, I don't know why. I think they were basing it on the grounds of safety. What locks it in place? Well, I'd thought of that. I'd gone with I think they're called electromagnetic door shutter, basically. So when you get a locked door and then you put a beep, 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 beep key code in and then it opens. I was planning on using one of them because they're 12 volt. You can get them rated for industrial use up to, I think it's 1800 kilograms, so nearly 2 ton. I was going to double it just to be ultra safe because they were concerned. So I don't know what the problem was. Anyhow, they said no. So kind of makes the build a bit easier and a bit quicker. Makes my mind up whether it was a good idea or not. Saves me drive shafts because I no doubtly would have smashed some CVs and done a mess of things. Means I can solid mount things. So, you know, with that idea, I'd have had to have the exhaust mounted in the cradle. I think the radiator would have been okay. But intercooler certainly would have had to have mounted in the cradle. It would have been a headache. You know, no doubt it would have been a headache. But it was cool and different. And nobody's done it. That was the biggest one for me. Just a simple idea. Real simple idea. And they went, nah. So, there we go. If it didn't require me basically cutting the back end off and redoing the car, if I turned up to a race meeting and they went, can't have that, then I probably would have done it. But, yeah. All the other ideas, they're not being told because they can just be bolted on and off. So, the idea. It's now 1:45. I'm going to go home. But yeah, I'll carry on the YouTube if I feel like it, really. I think we're going to get some cool stuff coming up. So, yeah. Over and out.